lesson. So we're going to be talking about angles, whether they are acute, right, obtuse, straight, or reflux or full rotation. So as a class, I would tell them what an angle looks like and what it's supposed to look like. And then the second activity is differentiating between acute angles and obtuse angles. So I would have just however many pictures I have, I'd have each student come up and just drag it to the correct one. If it's correct, it disappears. If it's wrong, it goes back to normal. So this is an obtuse angle, so if a student puts it in acute, it's going to bounce right back. So this activity just shows that students can differentiate between acute and obtuse angles. And then this one, we have the right, acute, reflux, and obtuse, which the students would do the same thing, but I would have different students come up and show me what they would do. So I have different degrees. So this one's just in number form of whether they are going to be acute, right, reflux, or obtuse. And reflux is anything more than 180 degrees. So this one says 168. Let's say a student thinks it's a reflux. So they would drag it. It's wrong, so it would go back. If it's correct, so 35 degrees is acute. So they would drag it to acute and it disappears. And then we have an in-class activity that I would do with the class after all of that. And this just tells you the names of the angles, and then it recaps what they are again. And then right here, this activity, you can move the angle. Oh, is it this one? So if you can put it here, and it's 119, and then it tells you it's obtuse. Reflux is 198, and so on. And then I would have the students, we would do this in class, go all the way to the bottom, and they have your turn, and they have 10 questions of whether or not, it just asks you whether they're acute or obtuse or right or so on. And then I would also have the students go to the next page. This one's degrees. So this one talks about the degrees of the angles. And right here, then it has a full circle. So you could no, just kidding. They also have a protractor, and then they have more questions. So these questions are, how many degrees are there in one straight angle? So I would do this as a class, just have this activity up as a class, and a student would answer, and I would make sure that each student in the class gets the chance to answer. So yeah, so then they would go, how many degrees are in one straight angle? We would talk about that a straight angle is a straight line, therefore that's 180 degrees. They choose it, and then it's doing that. If they get it wrong, I would still have them answer it. So how many degrees are there in one full rotation? The correct answer is 360, but if a student says 180, it'll say, I'm sorry, that's not correct, and then show you why, or what the correct answer is and why. And we would just do this as a class and just get them to practice their angles and everything.